Hey everyone! Well, we're here, we're back, and today we're doing another anti-MLM video, and for this video we will be talking about Beachbody. For this video, it is a good old-fashioned team call video, which I know so many of you really enjoy. I really enjoy those also, watching them, reacting to them. I just feel like with team call videos that they are the most real, and I say that loosely just because with opportunity calls, they're so upbeat and excited and really trying to sell the opportunity to people. But with a team call, they're already in, and this is how they talk to each other. This is the day-to-day reality of being in an MLM, because in an opportunity call, yes, the person who is presenting is a part of the MLM and they're trying to sell it, but everybody usually in a team call are a part of this and trying to make this work and trying to get tips and tricks from whoever usually is the presenter of the call. And team calls are a really good example of typically what is required of people either weekly or daily in the MLM versus in an opportunity call where they make it sound so easy that you just post and make money. But in team calls, we really get to hear and see what people do each and every day. So if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you really, really like it, please subscribe. Make sure to check out my description below for all of my fun links. I have links to my Patreon, my channel members, my anti-MLM playlist, and my social medias. And I think a few other things. So with all of that said, let's get started.
Always. Okay, guys, so let's do our best to keep this to 35 minutes so we can just jump in. I only had a couple things to like lift up for discussion, but I really want this to be a discussion. You know, we're all in this group together because we have coaches who are actively going through the trainings. And obviously our goal is more coaches every month to go through the trainings. So I figured we could just, it's been what, 3 months that we've been doing this. I figured we could touch base and see like, what do we think is working well? Where are we feeling like we're kind of hitting a wall here, and we could just, you know, talk about it to make changes going forward. So the first thing that I had is the one thing that I would ask everyone to do that I think is going to be really helpful. I know it's another thing, but if we can participate, like just like we are going through, because we are all building to diamond, right? Whether you're like shaky diamond, I got to build it back, or, you know, second or third business centers, spouse accounts, all of us are pushing for diamond. So what I would love.
Did you hear her say spouse accounts? That is usually how they will kind of boost themselves, usually to Emerald, which is the first rank after signing up. It is the rank that most people, I guess it would be the next rank. So it's the one that people start to go towards. And a lot of times people will just say, oh, well, just sign up your spouse as one of your legs. So you have that covered, but realistically, that just means that you are buying Shakeology or any of the other things you have to buy 2 times a month instead of just the one if it was just you needing to buy it for yourself. So now you have 2 auto ships of Shakeology a month, and if your husband doesn't want to do this, or your wife or whoever, your partner doesn't want to do this, now you have extra Shakeology just sitting there. And I guess you could sell it to other people, or use it as samples, but again, that is just more capital that you have to spend each month, and Shakeology is $165, and I know they get a 25% discount, but that's still a couple $100 a month that they are spending just to have one leg, and then usually the other leg is, it could be a random person, but that's usually when it's the mom or the sister or the whoever. Now you have ranked up to Emerald. But, I mean, yes, you have that rank of Emerald, but is it really so special when one of them is just your spouse and the other is your mom? You're not really coaching anyone, and you only did it because other people were telling you to do it and teaching you an easier way to reach that rank. And it's also so whoever recruited you can hopefully rank up to the next one, and so on and so forth. But usually diamond is the ideal one that they all go after. And let's just look at the income disclosure statement of Beachbody just to remind ourselves of what's going on over there. Okay, so this is the 2021 Beachbody income disclosure statement, and Emerald, which is the first rank, has 82.2% of the company. Ruby has 2.9%. Diamond has 9.4. So it does look like Diamond is the second highest rank, but again, at less than 10% of the company. And if we look, it says average tenure in years. It takes people almost 6 years to achieve the rank of Diamond, and less than 10% of people in the entire company ever achieve that rank. So it seems like it's a lot more difficult than a lot of people make it out to be.
See, is if we participate in the Diamond group, just like we're a participant of our own. And of course, tagging your coaches. I know my coach said she like isn't getting the notifications, but all we can do is tag and say, okay, you guys know where to go, set a reminder. And obviously in the foundations, you know, there's things you don't have to participate in because you've been through that, but just tagging your coaches and even just giving some words of encouragement in the group, I think would be super, super helpful. People are going to do it or they're not, but like, I think again, it's like speed of the leader. They look at us, and if we're showing up, they're more likely to do the things too. And that's all I had about that. So, anyone else before I move on to the next thing, anyone else want to jump in about anything?
Can't think of anything. I was like, that's a good tip and a good reminder, I think, for all of us, because I was like, yes, I should definitely tag. When I remember, I do it, but I think I just need to set a timer in my phone to make sure that it's like on my list. So yeah, I always see you and I'm like, I need to be more like them. Oh, y'all.
I see him like, dang, she's up at 4 a.m. She's got all the tags. I'm like, all right, she's my like built-in reminder.
Right. That's good.
Up at 4 a.m. Now, of course, maybe she lives in a different time zone than she does. So like 4 a.m. for somebody on the West Coast would be 7 a.m. for somebody on the East Coast. So being up at 7 and doing things is not that bad. But maybe she is up at 4 a.m. and doing all of this and tagging people and starting her day doing Beachbody. And I know a lot of people do that, and you know, they do like to try and be that motivator. And it's like she's saying like, oh, I see her up at 4 a.m. I should also be the one doing it. And it's like, you don't have to. This is supposedly your business, so they claim. You're the CEO of your company, and if you don't want to get up at 4 a.m., you don't have to. But of course, they think the earlier that you're up and the more you're spending time on this, and every part of your day needs to be dedicated to the MLM, like that's really the moment that you wake up, you are on social media, you are posting, you are talking about it, you are tagging people, you are doing all the things, as they love to say. That just sounds exhausting. The last thing that I want to do, well, one, I don't want to be waking up at 4 a.m., but I don't want to be on social media tagging people. And I also, even if I, let's say, was in an MLM and needed to be up at 4 a.m. talking about it, I could not be the uppity, peppity, like, go-getter at 4 a.m. I am not fully awake until A, I've had my coffee, and B, it's like past 10 o'clock. Like, until then, I am like, no, I am a zombie. I am not a morning person. People always say, like, are you a morning or a night person? I'm a day person. I thrive better during, like, peak daytime, which is, like, 10:30 until, like, maybe, like, 5. And then I'm like, okay, day is over. I no longer, I want to go back to bed. So I thrive best in peak daytime hours.
Okay, so
First
next
thing I do, or I can't do anything else.
what'd you say?
The first thing I do, or I can't do anything else.
Really? I can't even get on my social media if I don't work out already. I have to work out before I get on social media.
All right.
I mean, that's a good thing to like wake yourself up with working out. But like to say like I don't even get up unless, or like I don't do anything else unless I've been on social media, like that's such a bad mindset that like the first thing you have to do is get on social media. It's like, I mean, plenty of people will wake up and, you know, lay in bed and look at Instagram or TikTok and, you know, kind of like get yourself up and ready. Like, that's okay. But to like get them, be like, I have to be on social media and see if people, you know, responded to me so that I can recruit them, so I can answer their questions, so I can do this and plan my day of taking my pictures and posting and showing people that I'm awake and up and going and look at how dedicated I am. It just, I'm already exhausted in what's going on so far, and this has just started.
Next thing was Samantha's contribution yesterday the other day when she was talking about, which I think we're probably all on board with. If someone's pushing for Success Club every month, building to diamond, then yeah, they should be inviting more than one person a day. If you kind of look at that 5-day a week rule, if they're only inviting one person a day, you're looking at 5 people a week. Are 20 people, 25 people a month, is it realistic to hit SC10 with that? No, like we know that. So what I did was, you guys probably all saw the power of 5. And that's the one thing I want to talk about too. It kind of goes into tracking. I think going forward, if we make it more clear of the diamond group is really like, we should really be inviting like 5 people minimum a day if we're wanting to push forward for these goals. And so I created the power of 5. I don't know if you or ever did this, but like 8 years ago when I was pushing for diamond, I literally built the diamond on this tracking system, and it was called the power of 3. And all I did was like wrote in the names, and that served
the name on a notebook or the name on a piece of paper. I'm going to make you feel special in the DMs, but really you are just a name that I will follow up with because it is what I am told to do so that I can make more money. It has nothing to do with the fact that they care about people, they care about their health and wellness, and they want them to work out, and they want them to eat better, and they want them to do whatever. It's, I need you to sign up so that I can make more money so I can reach this rank in the company that I signed up for. That's all it is. A name on a piece of paper. You don't matter. You're not special. They may make you feel special. They may, talk to you a lot, but it really is just like a system that they follow. It's not because they genuinely care. It's because they are told to follow this system and reach out to minimum of 3 people, 5 people, 10 people a day. Like, that's a lot of people, and that's a lot of conversation to keep up with daily, weekly, monthly, and like writing down like they said no, they said maybe, they said yes, so follow up with them, they left, okay, now I need to follow up with this person. And that's just way too many conversations to keep track of. And it's just, once you see this stuff and you're like, especially if you were like invited and talking to someone who was like in an MLM and they made you feel special, and then you see this stuff and you're like, wow, I was just a name on their list. They didn't genuinely care about me. Well, they do in the way because they want to make money off of me. That's the only genuine thing about the conversations when random strangers reach out to you. And maybe you talk to them in some Facebook group that you're a part of, so it wasn't so random that they started messaging you and talking about it, or maybe they did just randomly message you, or maybe they're a friend from the past, from like 20 years ago, and they're like, oh my god, remember when we had blah blah blah's class together? By the way, I started my own business and I thought of you. No, they didn't. They were just going through their friends list. That's all it is.
my follow-up list too, because I saved every single piece of paper. And I would go back and be like, who did I invite? Who did I follow up with? And
that's another thing. It's like, who did I invite? Who do I need to follow up with? They don't, because they're talking to so many people, they have to have it written down, and they don't remember the people because the people don't matter. Whoever says yes, I guess eventually they can, they'll get to know them a little bit more because they're profiting off of them, so they have to show some interest. But the talking to people before they sign up or buy anything, they barely know who you are, and they just are having conversations with, it could be 10 other people, it could be 100 other people in the same day, and you think that you're special, this person is taking interest in you, but they're doing the exact same thing with so many other people, and that's so disingenuous. It really is.
I don't know what it is about this, but like this got me, I think, even to 1 star. Like I was just doing the things. And so my thoughts are, and this is what I really want to open up to get your opinion on, the business activity tracker, I think is awesome. I think a lot of coaches see that and get way overwhelmed, which is why when you were asking, I didn't introduce it in the foundations because we know how hard it is to get people even to do like those cute little emoji check-in, to see what they're doing. So I guess my question for the group is, do we want to implement this as kind of our main tracking system and really promote it? Or do we just want to kind of leave it out on the table and reach out to people personally if they're struggling with getting organized? I just want, with my personal experience, it helped me tremendously. Go ahead.
Okay, see, I got there first, but that's all right. I feel like what I'm finding with my baby coaches is I'm trying to follow what the mentorship is and leave what I've done personally to the side to see how it goes. So they're not confused, because they do get so overwhelmed. And I agree with you. But I find as they move into the second group.
But why is it that they are getting overwhelmed? If the system is so easy and all the things are in place and all they have to do is follow this business tracker or the success club tracker and go from there, why are people confused? In opportunity calls, they make it seem like you just post on social media, you talk about the products, you use the products, and you make money. That is honestly how they make it out to be. They're like, you're just an influencer, or you're just promoting things like you would anyway, like your Starbucks or your McDonald's or a movie or a restaurant. It's all the same thing. But then they get in and they see all of this stuff that they have to do and keep track of and check off their list and stuff. It's a lot more complicated than they make it out to be in the beginning. So maybe take a look at why people are confused. Because you guys, not saying them specifically, but so many people we have seen in opportunity calls make it seem so easy, and they say, it's easy, and people get in and they go, it's a lot more work than I originally thought it was, and I'm kind of confused on what's going on. So that's something to consider.
They don't have a sense of record keeping, of organizing, of how do I write this down? Where do I write this down? All they're doing is, okay. And so when we talk about, well, who did you invite? Well, I invited all these people. How many? Well, I don't know. Well, who? I don't know, because I didn't tell them to do it. And I'm such a pencil and paper person, and it's organized. I mean, it's in my happy planner, and
a name in a notebook. Everybody's is just a name in a notebook. And to say, they do say start inviting day one, or just start inviting. It doesn't matter, whoever, whatever. And if they're not told to follow up with those people, just invite them and see what happens. Whose fault is that actually? And I'm not saying that they're blaming anyone, because I don't think that they are. I think they're trying to all come together to create a more cohesive way of inviting and sending the hey girl message, which seems like that's all that this is they're coming together to explain to new coaches or coaches that have been in for a decent amount of time and maybe are a little confused, a more cohesive way of sending that hey girl message to many, many people each and every day.
here. And like you said, you saved every piece of paper. Yep. If we don't introduce something, then I feel like I have to go, and I don't mind, but I don't feel like I want to just help my baby coaches, because there might be some other ones as well that need a tool, some kind of tool. We all know we started with.
I don't know why, but her saying baby coaches is kind of bothersome to me. Like, you can call them new coaches or just coaches. You don't have to call them baby coaches. I don't know. I wouldn't personally like to be called a baby coach, but maybe I'm looking too much into it.
Something, and then we tweak it. I mean, Beachbody, just to let you know, in the Diamond group, Kevin Shaw is showing us they are coming out with a new tracker, and they've got a beta tracker, and they said, don't tell everybody about it because it's going to change. But it's one of those, but it is much simpler. It doesn't look as full, and it's much more explicit on what you're going to do. And
they make it look more complicated than it actually needs to be. All it needs to say on any tracker that any MLM has is, did you invite someone today? Did they say yes? If no, keep talking to them. Even if they say no, keep going, because no doesn't mean no in our MLM. That's all that it needs to say. Keep inviting, because the more people you have, the more people, or the more money you will make. That's just all the tracker honestly needs to say. Would they ever do that? Absolutely not. But that's realistically, read through all the complicated lines, all the fluff. That's all it says.
Incorporates how many reels are you going to do today? How many people are you going to invite today? Does that not sound like the KPIs that we've been talking about? I mean, I looked at that and went, oh, good. I don't have to keep flipping back. I can write it down right here. So something else is coming down the track at some point in time, but I feel like we need to give them something upon which they can build from. And even if they don't print it off, but they put it in a notebook, it's something. And the power of 3, yeah, that's what we were introduced with.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of piggyback on what she was saying. I feel like if we have some kind of, this is just flowing right now, if we have some kind of tracker, and it could be that it's a little different for the Coach Foundation than it is for the SC, because for Coach Foundation, we don't do what the coach invites quite yet, or are we changing that? But either way, for me personally, I would rather have a sheet of paper where all the things I need to do, like the emojis are on there. I personally can never remember which emoji goes to what thing. So I'd much rather
Can
have
I chime in just really quick?
Yeah.
Because what you're talking about, when I first started kind of these mentorships in December before we all collaborated, I have really great success with these form, like it was like a tracker, and I can share my screen with you guys to see them. I have them pulled up on my Canva. I don't know if I have to be the host to be able to do that or not. And then I can share them with you. And I was kind of tweaking them. They're very easy to tweak, but like it starts with, like, I started my baby coaches with this one form where it has a checkoff box on Monday, national wake up call, check into the challenge group, drink your shake, work out, 10 minutes PD. And then we can also add on there, invite 5 or connect, whatever we want. And then that's their little, to start their binders perhaps.
Right. Like if you took the power of 3 for the Coach Foundation, the power of 5 for the SC Foundation.
And I have a lot of these forms too, because then I have, once you get to Emerald Coach, these are the boxes you need to do. Once you're Diamond, these are the boxes you do to continue to grow.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I would almost like just take it to 2, like one for each of our groups, and like add, like start with the power of 3 where it's like you write down for each of the things, but then maybe incorporate like the 2 of them together. Like, so basically anything you have an emoji for at the end of the night, have it on this sheet of paper. And I'd much rather take a picture and post that in the group than like figuring out which emoji goes to what. And I don't know if anyone else, I don't personally feel overwhelmed, but I know that when you're coming on new and you're trying to figure out what emoji goes to what, I'd rather just like, here's a piece of paper, everything you're supposed to do for the day, it's on this piece of paper, take a picture, put it in the group, in the message.
Sounds like in their group they have associated certain emojis with if you did it for that day, and I can agree with her, is that sounds complicated. Instead, maybe taking a picture of your tracker and sending it in and showing what you did, or just in the groups, a little summarization of what you did in the day. Like, I start my day with my Shakeology. I invited 3 people. Sorry that clearly wasn't enough because you probably wanted me to invite 100 people today. But yeah, it's they try and make things cutesy and quirky with their emojis, when in reality it's just, hey, how many people did you invite today? And did they say yes? And did they sign up?
I like what you said. I like the checkbox, but I want to have a place where they write down the name.
Right. So that's what I was saying is like take a, she has similar something, and maybe incorporate like the power of 3 somehow where you can write the names down or whatever for Coach Foundations, and maybe power of 5 for the SC Foundations. And does that make sense? Where you have like a place to write down the names as well as like check like as, so we can kind of do something together on one page.
So what if I just pulled up your link here, and I love all this first off.
I feel when it comes to like the names, maybe we just need to explain more. I mean, the 10 and play makes sense to me. And like, that's my name list. That's where I keep my people wrote down, but maybe they're not getting that, so they should have their list. They should have that 10 and play list, because we're sharing, and that's what we're having them share once a week as well. Like, where are you at on your 10 and play? And also I know that we've mentioned to them too, like, save that 10 and play. Don't cross their name off. Like, you're not, continuing to follow up with them week after week. If they've been too busy or had one way or the other why they can't join you, put them on like the end of the month connection list. Or
it's not write them off and don't talk to them because they've clearly told you no in some way, shape, or form, whether they said, I'm too busy, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, which I guess can go as I'm too busy, but just straight up, no, I don't want to do this. But didn't she come off a little like annoyed with the whole like, whatever the reason is for one way or the other for not joining or not saying yes? It's like, there's a lot of reasons. But I just find it interesting that they are so adamant about having a spot to write people's names. It's not so adamant about the people using the product and posting on social media and then the product should sell itself, right? No, it's adamant about make sure you are reaching out to people and writing their names down so that maybe they can see that you did that at the end of the day or the end of the week or whatever the case may be. But it's just interesting that they are so adamant about, like, make sure there's a spot to write down people's names because they need to keep track of the people's names and talking to them and getting them to sign up or join as a coach or just as a 1 month trial. Because maybe, is it really about the reach outs and personally talking to people and the product truly does not just sell itself on social media? Because I feel like if it did, they wouldn't be so laser focused on sending invites and making sure to write people's name down and keeping track of all of that, because the product would just be doing what the product should be doing, not the person doing all the work, even though that is obviously what it is in an MLM. The individual is doing all the work to talk to people, keep track of them, looking for more people to talk to, plus posting on social media consistently and using the products.
Something. I like that a lot. Yours is really, yeah, I was going to say, I have a tracker system as well. But I like the colors in yours better.
And I stopped using it with my coaches. I stopped using it whenever we started the mentorships. And then some of them have asked me, like, do we have, and I've been just giving them I use the Success Club system tracker. I don't have a problem with it, but
The Success Club Trapper. That is what it is.
do believe that new people unfortunately do need really walked through and what boxes to check off. And
okay, what if we did something like that? What I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, we like this concept, but we want it to be maybe everything on one tracker, where I do feel like there's a 10 in play, there's a KPI, there's kind of like, that creates confusion, and confusion creates inaction. So if we can take this like sample, right? And Tess, to go back to your question for Coach Foundations, I think they should be inviting people to the team day one. So I think it should really be like, because our goal is what? Emerald and SC in that first group. If we put off them talking about the business, they're just going to not do it. So I think if we...
How can you promote something and sell the business idea to somebody when you have not done it yourself? I would feel horrible. I would not have any of the answers because more than likely people would have questions if they've never heard of this. And then you would have to go ask your coach, and then maybe they would jump in and explain for them, or just send a copy and paste template, which sounds inauthentic. And it's like, maybe actually try doing this as a business yourself first for a few months before you even attempt to try and drag somebody else into it. But this is MLMs for you. Sell the business opportunity day one, even though you haven't done any of it. Maybe you haven't even gotten a chance to try the products. It doesn't matter, because other people tell you it is a great opportunity. You also just have to blindly follow what they're saying and get people underneath you day one. How they say that. I get how they say that, because their whole thing is like, if you're not trying to get people to join the business day one, then you won't do it. I think you would if you started to, not make money, and then you go to your upline, you say, hey, how do I make more money? And they go, oh, invite people. Then you might start doing that, or you might leave. Hopefully leave. But you would probably start inviting people. It just to be new at something, literally brand new at something, and then turn around that same day and say what a great thing this is, how this has been so beneficial for you, and basically lie and be so inauthentic about something. Most people can see through that. Like, if you were somebody that joined day one, we do see this a lot from like Reddit posts and stuff like that is people will say, hey, I just joined and I would love for all of you guys to come along with me. I'm new and, we can do this together and me and you can, go through trials and errors together and this will be so much fun. People see through that. They're like, you just joined this business. You just joined and you want other people to join along with you for something that you have no idea if this is even working for you. It's just the whole idea of recruiting somebody or attempting to recruit day one. It just shows that that's all they care about is recruitment and growing downlines.
Essentially, if we keep the same thing for foundations and diamond, I don't really know if much should change from, because it's going to be the same stuff. But if we had a place where, like, this is just me off the top of my head, like, let's say grow your network, right? Send 10 friend requests, follow 20 people on Instagram. They don't have to write down all those names, but that could be a checkbox, right? Like, did you send 10 friend requests? Did you follow 20 people on Instagram? Check, check. What you guys are also saying is, okay, what are the names of the 5 people you sent messages to today? Write their names down. What are the names of the 5 people that you invited today? So it'll still have some name writing, but on some every day it'll be a couple check boxes of, like, Monday we'll have the National Wake Up Call checkbox, right? But every day will be the friend request and the follow. And then, like, what else it has here is your workout, 10 minutes of personal development. That doesn't require a written name. You just have to check it off.
Would it be helpful? I mean, it might get too busy because by the time you invite 25 names plus the check-in sheet, I think maybe it should be the tracker is one. And then if people do pen and paper, like I do pen and paper, like they could take a picture of that. You know what I mean? Or they do I don't know, maybe at the very end, the 10 and play. I do like adding that on maybe. But yeah, if you have like 50 or 100 names plus it's all on one sheet, I think it would just be overwhelming.
Yeah.
But
this whole thing sounds overwhelming. This whole thing of they're trying to simplify something that is arguably very simple in the way of, like, if they were just honest about what they truly wanted people to do. Hey, drink your Shakeology, do some stuff on Instagram, but realistically just keep sending invites and getting people to join your downline so that uplines can rank up and you can rank up. It's beneficial for you. If they were just honest with that, then that would be the easiest piece of paper to look at. But of course, that would not look great.
One sheet to write everybody's name. I mean, I can envision on the back, I could write names, or I think what I'm coming from when I mentioned it, we come up with an organizational plan because we know that the behaviors we want them to have to create the habits that they want. And we know that when you get to a certain point, you may not need to write down all the names of the people you invited because now you're just waiting for them to respond. But in the beginning, if I don't write down who I invited, the tendency to invite the same people because I forgot who I invited is going to happen. And we don't want them to keep inviting the same. So it's more of a matter of, okay, I invited these people and then next week, oh, I already invited them. But who do I have to follow up with? There's that. It's just a matter of some things, like you said, some things need to have a name written down so that they'll remember who to go back and follow up with, because they're not going to use their messages efficiently yet. They're still figuring this out. So
why do you think they won't do that though? Is it because other people haven't? Or, I mean, that could be it. And they clearly are trying to come together to create the most simplistic way of sending new coaches to this form and just saying, follow this, which is interesting that they're trying to come up with all this stuff because I thought they were all individual business owners. And yet they're acting like they were all managers trying to come together and create, an easier system for their employees, which is kind of what it is, except for managers don't make money off of their employees. They actually get paid to sit there and do this on a Zoom call, unlike any of these people. I mean, maybe they're decently high up, maybe they're diamonds, so, their coaches are out recruiting and selling Shakeology while they can sit here and make money. But many other coaches could not do that and sit on these Zoom calls and make money from just sitting there. They may be learning but they're not earning. I like that.
Give them an organizational tool. I think taking a little bit of, whether you write it on the back, give them that 100 sheet, tell them to get a notebook, put this with your notebook and put it, just giving them the direction instead of hoping that they figure it out. Everybody is not obsessed with organization.
Yeah, I have a PDF of 100 sheet, and that's what we used to do. So everybody who filled out the 100, I'd put them in a raffle, like for one of my giveaways.
Like 100 people, like invited 100 people, and then you get, see, they incentivize them to send all these invites, all the hey girl messages, and then they get entered into a raffle, and maybe they get like a packet of Shakeology. But again, that's coming out of her pocket. That's not like Beachbody putting on this giveaway or this raffle. That is her herself spending her money to hopefully get people to recruit, not to sell. I mean, again, selling Shakeology and recruiting and Beachbody do go hand in hand, but still.
But that was always like 100 names in a month, unless you're like
a month, not even overall. A month, 100 names in a month. Oh my, no.
That's weekly because we're
Weekly. Hold on, I need to go back. What did she just say?
names in a month, unless you're like me. That's weekly.
100 names a week, 400 people in a month. And I get that they do this as a way to be the example, but that's just ridiculous. That's just, it's ridiculous.
Because we're crazy. No.
I mean, it's just, it's an extra piece of paper. So, but still you could tell someone, all right, here's your tracker. You need a notebook and you need to write down, you know, Sarah does 1 page a day, something. We just need to give the directions and help them organize it. But right now we're not giving them any organizational tips. And again, if that's not their second language, I can hear right now who has the second language. Of course we're going to organize this. And they don't have any kind of system in place that they can either reproduce for team members to come or for them to be successful.
What if we did what I'm
being organized in your MLM does not equal success. Having people sending 400 messages a month to random people and trying to get them to sign up underneath you, if none of those 400 that you have nicely organized in that month say yes, you're not making money. So you may be organized, but organization does not equal profit.
what I'm hearing is like, we want them to write down. I think the biggest thing coaches don't do is invite, right? So like, what if we had the tracker with check marks, except for the invite? Like if they're inviting 5 people a day, 5 days a week, that's 25 people. If you invite more, write their names on the back. But I want to physically see the names of like, what are the names of the people that you actually invited? If you're sending 10 connections, give a checkbox. I don't need to see, right?
Yeah.
Right? Is that agree?
I don't, you're going to take up so much space if you're writing connections. Cause especially in the beginning, like there are some days I connect with 50 people and then the next day I have a lot of more people to invite. So like, it's more of like, I don't even write or tally my connections anymore. I only tally my invites now.
Okay. So what if, and I can come up with I love, I think it's so beautiful. Mine is so basic, but I'm thinking for like, if we need something printer friendly, if people do want to print out and write names down. So what if I took some of the elements just as a prototype and you guys can be like, hate it, love it, whatever. And we did the things that you're saying, but the only thing to write down or type in are the invite names. If they invite more than 5, awesome. Like put them on the back of your sheet, notebook, whatever it may be. But then everything else is just a checkbox, right? Like, did you do your workout? Did you connect with 5 people minimum per day? Did you grow your network? And then Monday we'll have certain things like Saturday is Team Glow, Team Sweat, Team Call. Monday is National Wake Up Call. We could potentially at the very end of the week say, what does your current 10 in play look like? And then they're having names on this last column.
You could have just like a blank column with lines at the end where you can write the 10 and play on there. So you have like a spot on the sheet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like this has total and I cross.
God, this is just a lot of words to say to make sure that they send a minimum of 5 hey girl messages. Maybe that's just considered connecting, but I guess you could just straight up message random people and say, hey, I saw you in unemployment group. I have an opportunity that you would love. Would you consider joining underneath me? And I guess that would be an invite to somebody you don't know, and you're also taking advantage of someone who is unemployed and potentially desperate and looking for something, and they're unaware about MLMs. Anyways, it's just a lot of words, and they just kind of keep saying the same thing. It's like, I think they've kind of got it under control, and realistically, all of this is they're just trying to make the Success Club tracker a little less long, I guess, and just make it like, hey, did you drink your Shakeology? Did you post on Instagram? Did you watch the whatever? Did you do your what is it called? Did you do something for personal development, which is usually read a book or go watch a coach's team call? And again, watching this stuff and, watching team calls or watching the morning wake up call thing that's like an hour every Monday, that's not going to earn you money. I mean, you might learn, but you won't earn anything. And I guess they could say, like, while you are listening to the wake up call, you could be sending messages or doing follow-ups, things like that. But again, it's just a lot of make sure that you're constantly on social media. That's the other thing that I should say on this tracker that they're saying, is that this may sound like a lot. It is, because you will constantly need to be on social media.
Often I was like, what if this was 10 in play?
Yes.
Very end of the column.
Yeah. So people can, like, throughout the week, like, you're seeing your invites, but then you can write down the people who are actually interested from your invites,
right,
and can go from there for your 10 in play for the week.
Right. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's helpful too, because I know I used to write my random names on like stickies and notebooks, and I would lose everything. And then literally ever since we started the 100 list, I have like sheets and sheets of paper. So I could even go back and see who I highlighted, who's interested and all that. So I think that's definitely helpful to even attach to the back, just have like a name sheet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The back would be list of names.
Yep. Yeah. If it's a PDF, I saved it as a PDF wide, so it's regular sheet of paper. Yeah.
Okay. So let me do this. Let me just create a little it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be beautiful. It's going to be on like a PDF, but I could create like a little template of what we talked about, merge the two things, and just send it your way. I'll probably be in Google Sheets. I can send you guys the link. Let me know what you think about the new tracker. I can see if I can do a page 2 of just invite names / follow-up names, whatever it may be. Is that good?
Yeah. I was going to say, if you just so all you have to do is just highlight, copy, and you can take this thing and then open up Canva again and go to PDF and then paste. And then you don't have to come up with anything. Like, it's already got all that stuff. And then I would just change, like, I think you have like 3 invites on, and then 2. You have 2 combos and then 2 invites, like 3. You what?
There's a lot of different pages. If you go through that Canva, there's like the Diamond Coach one has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I think 12 invites, 12
I was thinking like page 4. Well, do 3 invites at least.
No wonder. I know that I'm not in Beachbody, but like, no wonder that these coaches are like overwhelmed and confused, because I feel overwhelmed and confused. And, I feel like this is such a interesting team call to be an outside perspective on, because to me, they are complicating, or it just sounds like they're trying to simplify something by making it complicated when it's already simplified. They apparently already have something, and all they want to do is add on like one other thing to it. Why this needs to be anything else, as long as if your biggest thing is you just want people to invite people and get downlines, then just make sure that that is the highlighted thing on the piece of paper. Seems pretty clear cut. Not sure why they all needed to get on this call to discuss this. Of course, they are allowed to do whatever they want, however they want with their time. But I just find it interesting because they came on, because obviously this is an issue that they have with newer coaches, that they're confused and not quite sure what they need to be doing. So they all came on to discuss this. And I just feel a little bit overwhelmed with all the things that they're saying. And I feel like I totally understand how people who are just getting involved and seeing all this can absolutely be overwhelmed at all times.
You know, maybe even I would do 5, like, you know what I mean? Like, get them started. Like, that'd be 25 invites. That would be probably 1 sign up. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if we want them to hit that, I feel like making that invite goal off the bat. So yeah, you can take anything from anyone and then just copy it. Okay, let me do.
I would rather have Amanda's template because it's so pretty.
I was gonna say, I was like, let's just use hearts. That's so cute. But like, say for example, like I wanted to copy this.
Let's look at this really quickly. So it looks like every day you make sure you do your invites, new conversations, and then the week of that, and then you do your workout, social media post, add 2. This is so small for me, probably not for you guys. Add 2 to IG or Facebook, so like add 2 people. 5 Instagram stories, Shakeology, and 10 minutes of personal develop, and that is every single day, except for maybe like Sunday. Maybe she specifically takes Sunday off, or maybe Sunday was just cut off and it's more to the right. So you are working. That's the other thing about MLMs, is that you are doing something every single day, constantly posting on social media every single day, and doing 5 Instagram stories. I know for some people that can be like, oh, only 5, or people can be like, oh, that's no big deal. But for a lot of people, like, finding 5 things to post about, and I feel like a lot of people want to try and do new things. But again, you know, I guess as long as you post your Shakeology, you post about your workout, you post about something that you did in the day, and then you talk about, you know, you do like a poll maybe of like, do you love Beachbody? Yes, or absolutely. And then, have you ever considered coaching? Of course I have. Give me more info, because you never do anything negative, because the word no does not exist in MLM land.
Sorry, I gotta make it smaller.
Okay, so it looks like this coach specifically didn't do Sunday, so it means that she gives herself Sunday off, which is nice. At least she did do something where she gave herself a day off, it seems, or she just kind of does a mixture of things on Sunday and didn't feel the need a tracker to follow all of this stuff. I don't know.
All I have to do is just like hold my finger at the top corner and then kind of like just go down that so it highlights everything. Right click, copy it, and then let me just go back to Canva and I'll make let's see, where's a document? So this would be like a PDF. I mean, obviously it would be if you want to turn it, you know what I mean? But I can just paste it right there. And then you can make it smaller, bigger. And then if you want it, I mean, you could, you know, if this is too small or fine, you could have your list of people, I guess. But that's a way you can do that. And it's grouped right now. So that's the thing. As soon as you stop and click outside of it, it would be ungrouped. So that's how you copy something.
Okay.
Cheap system, because usually it's like, create this on a different template and then you have to pay for it. But yeah.
Creating a new template.
I love that. I'm learning all kinds of new Canva things.
No, I love Canva.
We can copy.
I understand that every way is different, but that seemed like a very straightforward, like, you copy and you paste. That's not really a new Canva trick. Maybe that was special. I don't know, but the copy and paste method should be very, very common for all of these people, because they're in an MLM. And the copy and paste method is a very popular way of how to send invites.
It as like create a PDF that's, or like whatever this form is. I think it's in like landscape or something.
Yeah.
Paste that in
And
there.
you can even turn it sideways. You know what I mean? And then when people print it off, it'll just
As long as it's printer friendly, like that's really all. Because some people are going to want to print, I think, and some people can also, you know, save it to your phone, pull it up on your stories. You can type things in there, do check boxes or whatever. But I agree. I think we're really onto something with. So let me recap.
We're very much onto something by using something that somebody already created that is a simplified version of the Success Club tracker that looks a little bit pretty. Very much onto something.
I like that idea.
Oh, and one thing I'll also add to the tracker is checked into the Facebook group / did the training. Like that'll, like all those things will show up on the tracker.
Mm-hmm.
because we want to
Yeah.
make sure they're like watching the Slay Squad videos and like do it. Because I still think KPIs are important, like know your monthly goals. I think we'll probably edit for next month, like to fizzle out the 10 in play, like check in with your 10 in. I mean, maybe, but it's going to be on the tracker. So as long as they're sharing the tracker, like they're going to have their 10 in play. So I can make the edits in the Google Docs as well. But so yeah, like a reminder on Fridays, like, did you crush it this week? Share your tracker, you know, and then we'll do recognition on Sundays of like, you guys are sharing your trackers, which means you're doing the activities.
And possibly
It doesn't mean they're making money.
All right, ladies, we are like just at 31 minutes. I'm really proud of ourselves. But okay, is there anything else you guys wanted to bring up? And I can do a quick recap before we hop off, but anything else? Okay, let me end the recording here.
Bye, Beachbody ladies, because there is many of them. Well, that was a different kind of team call. That was like a true team call. Like, I assumed all of these people were all a part of the same team and all had different downlines that they were trying to mentor. That was definitely an interesting team call, different than any of the ones that we've, I think, ever reacted to on the channel. But I felt very overwhelmed at certain points of just like, I know that they're just discussing things and this isn't like, you know, a new coach coming in and like seeing this, even though they could. My guess is that this was posted to their Facebook page. So they're saying like, you know, this is, if you have any input, like, you know, look at this and watch this. But in the end, from what we saw, it seemed like they, from the moment that the team call started, they had that template. All they wanted to do was add lines so people could write people's names. And that seemed to be the main focus of the call, was make sure that there are lines so that people can write down people's names, so we can see that they followed up with people, which I found very interesting. I heard that in there. It's like, I want to make sure that they did write down people's names and that they can see it and we can see it and we see it every week and we know that they are reaching out to people, because as we know, that's the most important thing. It's not just about posting on social media and the product sells itself, because if that was the case, then MLMs would be way more successful. There'd be a lot more people than, what was it, 82% who are in the first rank, where the thing that they basically tell you to do is invite your spouse, invite your mom or your sister or your aunt or your grandma. Like, that's an easy rank to get to when you just tell somebody to invite 2 people who they know, or like family members or a best friend or whatever. It becomes a lot more difficult when they have to consistently reach out to strangers, get people to stay, have a bunch of people underneath them in order to reach Diamond, which I believe you need to have, like, I think it's like between 18 and 25 people, I think, to reach Diamond. I can't remember exactly. But you need to obviously have more if you want to stay in Diamond, because people will leave. Other people will, you know, no longer want to be a part of this. So if somebody leaves the company, then you derank. Again, how you are in control of that, I will never understand. But they'll just say, oh, well, you should have probably had more people and you shouldn't have been so dependent on those people to stay. And it's like, well, you tell me all the time that when somebody joins, they will love this and they will love the opportunity. So why would I think that somebody would even leave? Why would that even cross my mind when this is supposed to be the greatest opportunity of anybody's life ever, a once in a lifetime chance? That could happen in any MLM. You know, you could have 17 different MLMs, and I bet all of the hey hun messages would look very, very similar. And all of it is just, hey, have you ever thought of the opportunity? More than likely, it's always the opportunity. It's never like, do you want to try my product? Maybe it's mixed in there. But we know it's all about the opportunity and joining the downline. All right, you guys, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you really, really liked it, please subscribe. Let's talk anything and everything Beachbody in the comments below. And until my next video, I will see you guys then. Bye!